Foundation president, so much more at CPAC. Senator, what do you make of that? If this is delayed, I mean, Mnuchin did raise a good point with Maria. Look, if the markets were worried about this, I'm paraphrasing, Senator, but they have a funny way of showing. I agree with that. But I don't think they've weighed the magnitude of something that could be in effect in 2018, not 2017. What do you think?
Neil, I'm beginning to worry about the inaction in Congress. I know how the Senate works, and I know how business works. If we start talking about cutting taxes next year, businesses are going to hold back, defer profits. We're going to see the economy slow down this year in anticipation of having a better tax system next year. They need to act now, Neil. They need to repeal Obamacare and begin the process of improving our system. If they wait till summer, it won't happen. And if they wait till later in the fall, there's only about a month or so after the August break for things to get done, and then congressmen are going to be squeamish about doing something next year because it's an election year. So they need to get moving. The Senate is out on recess when they need to be working 7 days a week to keep up with the Trump agenda. So it's time for Congress to move.
You know, Senator, if it turns out that they cannot pay for these tax cuts, and I know there's a raging debate, and I get it from viewers all the time I mention this subject, Neil, it's our money, you don't have to pay for our money. I understand the heat on both sides of this issue, but if this import tax is going nowhere, and it seems, Senator, for the time being that it's going nowhere, that was going to pay for a lot of this, maybe even infrastructure work down the road. But if that's going away, can you, as a budget hawk in your own right, and were when you served there, can you live with that?
Yes, I can, Neil, because I know if you score, as we call it here, tax cuts, history shows that it actually increases revenue over a period of time. So getting the economy going is the only way to deal with our deficit right now, and we need to get regulations out of it. We need to lower our tax rate. We need to make it more profitable to produce in the U.S. by taking taxes out of things that we export. There are a lot of things we are doing, and it needs to be a tax cut, Neil. This idea it needs to be neutral is not going to get the economy going. We take too much money out of the economy right now. If we want to deal with the budget deficit, we just need to get the rates low and the economy going.
Now, I'm reading between the lines here, Senator, so if you'll indulge me, from the Mnuchin interview and other venues on which he's been on to discuss the tax thing, that he is dialing back, or seems to be dialing back, the notion that the rich net get no big tax cut. You remember before it was, we'll limit their deductions and write-offs, so going from, almost 40% to a top rate of 33%, they won't see any meaningful tax cut with that. Now, obviously, others have crunched the numbers and said, you can take all those deductions away. If you're cutting rates that much, they'll see something. What do you think of that debate? Does it matter? Is it just that the administration's leery of saying that the rich are going to get a disproportionate tax cut because compared to others they pay more anyway, or what?
Well, as you know, the rich pay most of the taxes already, and any kind of tax cut is actually going to give them a bigger tax cut in total dollars. But once the economy gets going, it benefits
You just admitted and said that, and they don't. I don't think it's sort of evil to just state the obvious there, but they dance around it.
But, Neil, the important point of what you're saying here is that the personal side of the tax reform is going to be much more difficult. We could probably get some bipartisan support for lowering the business rates, simplifying the code. If that's something I think we could get done first, that would have the most effect on our economy and creating jobs, and then we can have a longer fight of how we actually simplify the personal tax system.
Senator, thank you for taking the time. Always appreciate it. Jim DeMint.